The NBA trade deadline just passed, and a multitude of moves were made. Most importantly, the move that sent Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks to the New York Knicks in exchange for Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, Malachi Flynn, Ryan Arcidiacono, and 2 second-round picks. Obviously, a ton of other moves happened, and we're going to break down how this affected the New York Knicks, and we're going to go through basically every trade of importance that did happen and the ones that could affect the New York Knicks. But first things first, let's talk some New York Knicks basketball. Because, look, the Knicks acquired OG Anunoby, Bojan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks without relinquishing a first-round pick, thus retaining all of their picks for a potential superstar acquisition this summer. Not to mention that they will have another draft pick of availability, meaning now they will have 9 first-rounders that they could trade for a star. Additionally, they resolved issues with Clutch Sports. Brunson's an all-star, and him and Josh Hart are launching their new podcast today, titled The Roommates Show. The vibes are immaculate. This is the best season the New York Knicks have had in my entire lifetime. I'm 22 years old. I was not alive the last time the New York Knicks made the NBA Finals. This is the best season of my lifetime. The Knicks are scratching the surface of the second seed, and the only thing in their way is a Cleveland Cavaliers team that has been better without Evan Mobley and Darius Garland, both of whom are going to have to return soon and will be returned as starters, which could screw up the Cavs' momentum that they have right now, because Dean Wade is playing out of his mind, especially defensively. And the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, because we're mentioning the Bucks right now, we are going to mention that Patrick Beverley did get traded to the Bucks, and that is huge for them as they did not have any backcourt defense whatsoever, and now they do. And that is going to be an implication for the Knicks as going into the playoffs before the trade deadline. If we were looking at the Knicks and Bucks for a potential first-round matchup, the big highlight is who the hell is going to guard Jalen Brunson. Brunson went off against them in the beginning of the season. He has had a tremendous time playing the Milwaukee Bucks. No one's able to guard them. I mean, no one can really guard Brunson in general, but the Bucks had 0 defense in their backcourt, which was really causing troubles for Milwaukee. Now they get that helped out. Patrick Beverley comes to the team. If the Knicks do end up playing the Bucks in the second round of the playoffs, we know that Patrick Beverley will be guarding Brunson, and he's a solid guy to have on Brunson. Because after all, he has made a name for himself defensively, even if he is getting older now. We move on. Little bit from StatMuse real quick. We're just hyping things up right now. The Knicks front office just putting up Wilt numbers right now. I mean, look, I was sure that the Pistons were going to trade Bojan Bogdanovic, and I was sure it was going to be for a first-round pick. Nope. The Knicks were able to give up Quentin Grimes, who was only taking up around 12 to 15 minutes a night for the Knicks, and got back Bojan Bogdanovic. Separately, they get Alec Burks when trading Malachi Flynn, who didn't ever really play for the Knicks outside of very few minutes, Evan Fournier, who was on the bench the entire season, and Ryan Arcidiacono, who was on the bench the entire season but with a purpose. That one is the one that hurts the most because we knew Grimes was getting moved, and Alec Burks is a better player than Quentin Grimes. Sure, Grimes is young. He's got potential. He's perfect for the Detroit Pistons. Alec Burks is perfect for the New York Knicks because the Knicks now have a finals-level team. And something Darielle and I did not mention is that Josh Hart is on the Knicks after all. We did not even mention him when talking about the bench unit for the playoffs. So yes, just to bring that up very quickly, Deuce McBride will not at all be in the playoff rotation. The Knicks bench will... There's a chance that Hartenstein will stay starting and that Mitch will come off the bench. I think regardless of what happens, Hartenstein's going to play the bulk of the minutes because Mitch will be coming off an injury. But the Knicks bench will look like, we're just going to put Mitch on the bench right now because he'll be playing less minutes in the playoffs. Will be Alec Burks, Josh Hart, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Mitchell Robinson, giving the Knicks players more time to be able to sit on the bench during the playoffs. For you have 9 guys who belong in an NBA playoff rotation. That is rare. The Knicks have the best bench in the NBA once again. Deuce McBride is now the 10th best player on the New York Knicks. That is an excellent job done. Leon Rose is a top three president of basketball operations and really just a top 3 front office leader in the NBA today. The Knicks have an elite front office. And for people who have been a Knicks fan for a while, for all you guys who have really stayed loyal to this fan base and watched the years of, I mean, I guess Donnie Walsh was solid, but watched the Phil Jackson era, which was actually like pulling teeth. And then watching Steve Mills where nothing made sense because Steve Mills did not know what was going on at all. It is such a relief that they could do this. And I also just got an alert from my phone. That's why I'm distracted Fred Katz just said that the New York Knicks cannot re-sign Ryan Arcidiacono because of the trade. Something I was going to bring up, but I was not sure if it was confirmed. It is confirmed. Because of the trade, the Knicks cannot re-sign Ryan Arcidiacono until next summer. So Arcidiacono is gone, but it's a small price to pay. Now, Michael Escato highlighted a while back today that Dallas attempted to trade for Grimes, which we do know about, in talks that primarily centered around Josh Green, meaning there was another trade talk between the Knicks and Dallas for Quentin Grimes, but that overture was rejected by New York. New York discussed the idea of Evan Fournier and a first-round pick with Toronto for Bruce Brown. The Knicks also were interested in Kelly Olynyk, Jordan Clarkson, and Isaac Okoro. Now, obviously, none of these deals happened. Josh Green is still on the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs did make a move of their own, getting P.J. Washington, but that doesn't really affect anything at all for us with the Knicks, so we're going to blow past that outside of the fact that that's a lot to trade for Washington. Seth Curry, Grant Williams, who understandably is on a terrible contract, and a first-round pick. And then the Knicks, they tried to get Bruce Brown, it looks like. That did not work out. Brown will be staying with the Toronto Raptors, and that is interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then also they tried to get Olynyk, Clarkson, and Isaac Okoro. I'm happy they didn't get Isaac Okoro. That made no sense. The Cavs probably would have overcharged for him anyway, and the Jazz would have tried to overcharge for Kelly Olynyk and Jordan Clarkson, which is one of the reasons why I don't think that happened. On top of the fact that Bogdanovich and Alec Burks is just a better package overall, and the Knicks probably gave up less than they would have had to give up for those two from Utah. Look, I'm happy the Knicks didn't go for Bruce Brown because despite the fact that Dariel and I completely forgot to mention him, Josh Hart, same player. Josh Hart's going to be in that playoff rotation. They don't need Bruce Brown also in that playoff rotation. The Knicks did perfectly at the deadline. They got scoring help off the bench. They got more forward depth. It was literally all I wanted from the Knicks. They got the two things that I was pleading with this franchise to get. They have a 20-point-per-game scorer coming off their bench. He's 6'7". He shoots 41.5% from three. What the hell, Leon? Leon Rose is built different, guys. But look, we're just going to keep moving on. The Knicks and Hornets discussed the P.J. Washington trade, but the Mavs continued to be a strong suitor for him, and then the Mavs obviously got him, as we said. Look, good job by the Knicks to discuss for multiple big men. Happy that the Knicks ended up with Bojan Bogdanović. We're already at 7 minutes. Strap in, guys. We're not done. New York has 2 open roster spots and $2.5 million below the luxury tax. Plenty of room below the first apron to sign players bought out of their contracts. Now, it recently came out as I was filming this video that the Toronto Raptors, who did acquire Spencer Dinwiddie and... Oh, no. They just acquired Spencer Dinwiddie and they traded Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young to the Brooklyn Nets. So an inner-east Atlantic Division trade. Obviously, the Knicks are in the Atlantic Division, but they are far better than those two teams. Those are the 2 worst teams in the Atlantic. The Raptors are probably not making the playoffs. I mean, RJ is balling out, which I love to see, but they're probably not making the playoffs. It's kind of a rebuilding year. I think it was a mistake to hold on to Bruce Brown, but we'll let Ben and Raptors Digest handle that. He'll go over this. He'll do his own thing. But definitely something that the Knicks probably got away with doing. Wouldn't have made the most sense. The Knicks could look for Dinwiddie, but I don't see the point of signing him, or he'd hardly get minutes with the team, so I don't think that makes much sense. And then the Nets getting Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young doesn't really affect the Knicks. The Knicks and the Nets play 1 or 2 more times this season, and, I mean, they'll beat the Nets anyway. The Nets aren't good. So we're going to keep moving. I just showed you that. Tommy Beer tweeted out that among all players that are averaging more than 6 3-pointers per game in 2024, only 4 are shooting above 45% from downtown. That is Karl Anthony Towns and Lauri Markkanen, both in the 3-point contest, by the way. Both all-stars, by the way. And Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanović. The Knicks just added 2 premier shooters to their bench. 2 guys who can start on championship teams are now on the Knicks bench. And yes, Bojan's going to start for a little bit because Randall's out. Perfect guy to add in. More spacing. I mean, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby, Bojan Bogdanović, Alec Burks. That's 5 guys. 5 guys in a 9-man rotation who are shooting nearly or over. 4 of them are shooting over. Anunoby, aside from being a top 3 perimeter defender in the NBA, is also a 37% shooter from deep. The Knicks, this is a championship-level basketball team. This goes deep. They got insurance throughout the roster now. They're a deep team. If they're healthy, they are as good as any team other than the Celtics in the Eastern Conference, and their bench is far better than the Celtics. I mean, let's be real right now. Deuce McBride, Alec Burks, Josh Hart, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Mitchell Robinson / Isaiah Hartenstein, that is damn near a play-in basketball team. That's the next bench. That's their bench. We're not even discussing the fact that they got 2 All-Stars in the starting lineup, that they have one of the best defenders in the league in OG Anunoby, that they have the guy who left Golden State and took Klay Thompson's shooting with him in Dante DiVincenzo. The Knicks are on another stratosphere right now. They are on fire. This is an insane day to be a Knicks fan, one of the craziest days of my fandom. And something that Fred Katz did have to say is that acquiring Bogdanovic accomplishes exactly what the Knicks wanted contractually. He's partially guaranteed for $19 million next year, but expect the Knicks to pick that up. They obviously will. They were seeking a 24 to 25 million or a 24-25 year salary in the range of $20 million to flip in a bigger trade this summer or next season. I talked about this a little bit before with my buddy James Ryder's tweets that Adrian Wojnarowski is CAA. He has mentioned multiple times that the Knicks are going to trade for a star this summer. He might know something that we don't. Aside from being Woj and being the NBA's lead insider with Shams, he's also CAA. He knows Leon personally. He knows something. The Knicks now have Bojan Bogdanovic, who's valuable because of the way he shoots that damn ball. So if he gets traded to a rebuilding team for a team that's going to give their star to the Knicks, guess what? They can flip him for value. And, I mean, the Pistons just got Quentin Grimes for him. Grimes is a good young player. Grimes is probably worth a protected first rounder. They could get a protected first from him. Not to mention, once the summer hits, that's an extra year of draft capital, meaning the Knicks will have 9 first-round picks to offer to their team. 9 first-rounders and Bojan Bogdanovic. They're not going to need to use all 9 to trade for a star, but they might need to use 6 and Bojan Bogdanovic. And god damn, if that is not a package good enough to trade for a star, I don't know what is. Leon Rose has put the Knicks in perfect position to really, really succeed this season, and on top of that, succeed down the line. It is so awesome what is happening right here. And as Kevin O'Connor put it, the Knicks are big winners. They needed more scoring, and Bogdanovic and Burks fit perfectly next to Brunson and Randall. Both can get hot. Both can create their own shots. And they can give Brunson a breather because of their own shot creation. Now, something else that did happen, just because I did say we're going to talk about other trades. I know this is Knicks Digest, but I do just want to bring up other trades a little bit, so I am going to look at my phone a little bit here. The Utah Jazz did trade Olynyk after all, and Abagiji, I just botched his name, Ochai Abagiji, to the Toronto Raptors for Kira Lewis, Otto Porter, and a 2024 first-round pick. First of all, that is a horrible trade for the Raptors because I don't get the point of trading for Kelly Olynyk at all. He's going to probably walk in free agency, so weird. But not going to affect the Knicks. They're the worst team, or the Raptors are the second worst team in the division. I think they're better than the Nets, regardless of whose record is better. Then, if you look through it, the big other trade that happened in the Knicks division is Buddy Hield went to the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, that can be important. It depends on how Joel Embiid comes back, and if the Knicks face off in the playoffs with the 76ers, they're going to have a lot to handle. Look, the 76ers are deep. They just got Buddy Hield, who's an excellent player to have with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. The problem is, will Embiid be healthy enough for Buddy Hield to be valuable to the team? And I'm not exactly sure. Now, another Knicks target, Daniel Gafford, did get traded to the Dallas Mavericks for Rashawn Holmes and draft compensation. We've talked about P.J. Washington. The Nets have gotten a little bit worse after trading Royce O'Neal to the Suns. But outside of that, the biggest trade deadline move, like the closest thing we had to a blockbuster, because DeJounte stayed put and the Lakers did absolutely nothing because they're a poverty franchise right now, is the Knicks getting Bogdanovic and Burks. The Knicks are the big winners of the trade deadline. It was an excellent job done this year. I didn't really expect much to happen, and Leon Rose woke up and chose violence. And now the New York Knicks can contend for an NBA championship. And I'm at a loss for words because I've never actually said that and been serious before, whether it's on camera or just in my life in general, for the first time in my entire life. And I'm 22 years old. I've been through middle school, high school, college, never been able to say that till right now. The New York Knicks can realistically contend for a championship, guys. Stay tuned for more Knicks Digest videos. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Let's go! We're going to the finals. We're winning the finals. Nobody can touch us. The Nuggets suck. The 76ers suck. The Celtics suck. The Bucks suck. Everyone in the NBA is terrible. The Knicks are better than all of them. Knicks Digest to the moon. We're better than the whole world. Put us up as Team USA. I don't care that Bogdanovic isn't from America, he's from Croatia. I don't care. The Knicks are the goated team. Greatest team ever. Leon Rose deserves a statue outside the Garden. Have a great day, guys. The Knicks rock. Go Knicks.